All right, we're early, and look who's here. Billy, Billy is saying hello to everyone. Those of you who are early getting a treat to see Billy tonight. So yeah, it's Sunday, June 6th, 2021. So yeah, I'm a little early, 10 minutes early. Just make sure, just confirm that you can hear me. So Billy says hi. He's going to go back on the sofa. There you go, boy. Just stay there now. Good boy. No, don't go down, Billy. Stay there. Sit. He might jump. Davos Man. I mean the globalists. I try to be a bit cryptic because I don't want to be censored. They're the people who attend the World Economic Forum, the big corporations, corporate leaders, government leaders, political leaders, news media, mainstream media leaders, think tank leaders, all globalists who are following the same script. And they also attend places like Bilderberg and others, Council on Foreign Relations, all those kinds of people. Yeah, I will wait for more people to come on. We can talk about some other things. Yeah, Billy is doing okay. It's been a pretty nice day here. It's not too hot, not cold anymore. It was raining a lot on Friday. So we got Luca Puzzoli saying hello. Hi, Luca. T. Ryan, Fib Onachi from Michigan. That's a good name there. You're not late, James. I just started. I'm just a little early. Just wanted to, if you were here when I started, you would have seen Billy. He wanted to say hello. The other thing I'd like to say is that the channel reached today 50,000 subscribers. I've said in the past that I'm not too bogged down on subscribers on the number, but it's nice milestone, I guess. Today as well, the Wall Street Silver Reddit group, they got their 100,000th silverback, which is 100,000 members. So on the same day. Jordan Moe, do you think vaccine passports will become mandatory to work in the UK soon? I don't know, to be honest. I saw a week or so ago that that was off the table, vaccine passports within the country. So we'll have to see. I don't know. So we still got a bit of time. Just wait for people to come on. Huh. James Richter, Miss Billy. He's still here, though. There he is. Thank you, Luca. Thank you. Alice Photo from California. Ann Sanderson from Scotland. Or Neil. Joanna C. from Boston. I assume that's, could be Boston in England or in Massachusetts. Aquatic Beast from Ohio. Jason Timkiv, what's the best type of silver to hold during bars or coins? It depends, really. I have coins, I have bars, I have mostly coins. I guess if you are a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, you're going to have a lot of big bars. If not, you're going to have a few bars, but also coins. For barterability, which is something that Lynette Zhang talks about, the best thing is to have coins. I've actually got all kinds of coins from all kinds of countries, but I also focus on buying some old junk British coins. For example, this is a florin. This is like 925 silver. This is all the pre 1920 coins in the UK are silver. That's a shilling, which is like a quarter. So yeah, I have loads of those. I have some that are numismatic, which I like to collect, but a lot more that are just junk or bullion. Not bullion, but the old British coins are or circulating coins. But I also have the bullion coins, the newer Britannias and the American Silver Eagles and Philharmonics, Maple Leaves, all kinds of stuff. All silver will do well. Yeah, all silver will do well. Silver is the same everywhere. Kevin's bought White Mountains of New Hampshire checking in. Mario, you are the best until people demand physical at a very high level. There's no such thing as a silver bowl market. You're talking about the teacup, the formation. Billy, Billy's doing this. I don't know what's up. Billy, do you want to get down? Get down. Or just get down if you want. I think he's a bit hot, so he just wanted to get down a bit. He's just lying on the floor. He's a bit hot, so he's here though. Munch a lot. I was wondering what amount of metal, gold, silver will keep a family of 4 out of poverty for 5 years. It's difficult to say what poverty might be where you are. In another country could be pretty good living. So it's difficult to say. You have to work that out yourself, what your bare necessities are. I guess if you can have enough silver to have your bare necessities and a little extra, then you're going to stay out of poverty. Yeah, right now, I think there's still a lot of room for silver to move higher. Silver, of course, and gold will keep their purchasing power, but they actually might do really well. So it's difficult to say. And when people ask me how much silver and gold I should have, I say try to get as much as possible. Yeah, as much as possible. You have been skeptical in previous videos of Andrew Maguire suggesting gold becoming a tier 1 asset. I haven't really. The question has been of semantics because, because tier 1 is related to capital, tier 1 capital, and gold is an asset. And what Basel III is going to do or did is that you can use gold as an asset when calculating tier 1 asset rate, tier 1 capital ratios. That's the confusion because when calculating capital, you look at what assets you have, and capital is like the equity in the bank, right? So that was the difference there. But I'm not skeptical. It's just the way that he put it as being a tier 1 asset. There are no tier 1 assets technically. There are tier 1. There's a tier 1 capital, and and you measure the assets to basically measure the how solvent the bank is. The capital or equity of the bank. So I have no problem with him. It's just that I got confused, and he kind of used the asset and capital interchangeably. But anyway, we've got a minute to go. Just wait for more people to come on. Tomcat, I have a Congo silverback coin. Very nice coin. What's your opinion of privacy crypto like Monero and Haven? Yeah, I've had Monero in the past. The other one I don't know about. I don't have a huge exposure to crypto. I have Bitcoin. I don't have much, but I have exposure to the altcoins because I post a lot of my videos on platforms that like Steam It, Hive, DTube, what else? Yeah, library, and I earned those cryptocurrencies, and that served me really well. So I never really bought those coins. I just earned them. Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, 9 o'clock, London. I've got quite a bit of notes here I took to talk about today. The title of the live stream is Time Running Out to Get Out of the System as Davos Man Tightens the Noose. So Davos Man, someone asked earlier, what is Davos Man? Well, they're the globalists. They're the Klaus Schwabs of the world, the Bill Gates of the world, all the prime ministers, presidents of the major countries, all the central bankers, all the people at the UN, at the BIS, World Bank, all the people that attend the World Economic Forum in Davos when they were having them in the winter. I think it was usually February. All the people that attend the Bilderberg meeting every year as well. And I forgot to mention there's also people who work for think tanks, people who are in the mainstream media, people like that do work for the FT, Wall Street Journal, all the big media companies. They're involved in this as well, and they play they play along with the same agenda. And yes, I have a feeling that things are getting really there's something going on. They're getting these people, these Davos men and women, of course, they're getting kind of very pushy. They're implementing policies, Orwellian policies that I've never seen before in my lifetime. I'm 56. I've been around a while, and I think even if my father, for example, was alive, he probably wouldn't have seen this. Maybe when he was young during World War II, but I think it's just crazy. And yeah, I think time is running out. And what do I mean, get out of the system? Well, I think it's, how can I say, impossible to get completely out of the system. But I think you need to be aware that there's a system that they're trying to implement. They're trying to destroy the old system, which actually wasn't that great, especially the fiat currency system, and they're trying to build back better, right? That's their term, not mine. And I think this new fourth industrial revolution or great reset, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's full of digital controls, government controls. And I think even though I had no idea this was going to happen 5 years ago when I started my channel, I've been telling people to get out of the system, the fiat currency system, by having physical gold and silver outside the system. And I'm not saying that just by having that, you're going to be fine with what's going on, but I think it's going to go a long way to helping people. But again, I don't have a manual, a manual to help people go through this. People just need to, I think the most important thing is to realize what's going on and that a lot of it is planned. And unfortunately, the majority of the public is buying into it. I'm being very cryptic because I want to keep this channel going, but I'm sure a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. Super Seamster Suing Show, thank you for your super chat. How would you convince a rich man to stack silver? Well, 1 second. I don't look at people at how rich they are. I look at people, how they think about things. If they want to listen to my argument, doesn't matter if they're rich, poor, a president, a king, or criminal, even. I'll try to convince them the same way I try to convince anyone, really. You just explain to them, that silver is money and has been money for thousands of years. You talk about, you tell them about the names of currencies in a lot of countries, like the dollar derives from silver, all those kind of things that I talked to you about, for example. Sarge 272271, reality is about to get weirder than fiction. Yeah, and that's why I think yeah, I feel fortunate and that I have been looking at these things, even though I've been called many things like conspiracy theorist, a nut job for talking about what's going on now many years ago, because I've done a lot of research and I could see it coming. So in a way, I'm glad that I know it's happening, but it's not great. I think, for example, today is D-Day. We can argue a lot about World War II, but in the end, the Americans had to come and clean up the mess in Europe. And I have a feeling the same thing's happening again. Europe is in a mess. The UK, continental Europe, US is in not much better shape, but I think there's more hope in the US because you have the states are more autonomous in the US, and you have certain states that are trying to stand up to the Davos Man. So who knows? Maybe it's going to end up again another D-Day. Today is the 77th anniversary, June 6, 1944. So yeah, so that's the title of the live stream tonight. And I've got quite a few notes here. One of the first things I wanted to talk about is a really good channel, YouTube channel, that I wanted to recommend. It's called, and I'll type here, or I won't type, I'll just bring it up for you guys to see, and I'll share it. And a lot of the things this guy talks about, that's how I feel about things. So, and he does a very good job of a cryptic job of talking about what's going on. So let's share this with you. I think I recommended this channel probably a year or two ago, and I hadn't watched him that much. So here he is. It's Bjorn Andreas Bo Hansen. He's Norwegian. He's got almost 500,000 subscribers. He's written books as well. He's like yeah, he does a lot of Viking things, but he's like a philosopher, I think. Look at the titles of his videos. Today, a day ago, he talked about this here, as you can see, the passports. Uh, this one here I found interesting. The most dangerous people are not the ones you'd think they are. The road to totalitarianism. I think this is a really good channel to watch. This is one of the things that I'll check off my list. One of the things I wanted to talk about. So so yeah, I highly recommend that YouTube channel. So let's look at some of your, oh, hold on. Look at some of your questions. Let's have a look. JT says, I'm in Texas, been here for my whole life and ain't leaving unless I go to Uruguay. Yeah, Uruguay. I guess Doug Casey's there. I have an uncle and some cousins who lived in Uruguay years ago. I've never been to Uruguay. I'm going to stay here in the UK for now. I think, the grass is kind of greener elsewhere. And right now it's really difficult to go anywhere. So I'll stay put. Sarge 27271 says Bjorn is insanely grounded and smart, worth watch every time. Yet. Sebastian Schmidt, good evening, Sebastian. Amazing Polly is the lady with the goods. I like Amazing Polly too. I think she's now on BitChute. I watch her once in a while. Joker Alpha, when you say be your own bank, do you mean keep your wealth or become a financial lender? No, it doesn't mean becoming a lender, even though you could maybe lend money, but I wouldn't lend it to yeah, I wouldn't get involved in that. It means keeping your money you know, not in the bank. And how do you do that? Well, you can have fiat cash. I don't recommend that. You might want to have some for emergency, but being your own central bank, a lot of people attribute that term to Greg Manarino, but actually it was Jim Sinclair who coined that about 20 years ago. He always used to talk about being your own central bank. It's just having gold and silver outside the system because that's what money is, gold and silver. Right now, of course, you can't keep it in the bank anymore, gold and silver. They only keep fiat or air. So that's how you become your own central bank or your own banker. Um, yeah, I mean, I still keep fiat currency or fiat digital entries in my bank, but just enough to cover for emergencies and for my monthly bills. Uh, Apart from that, I don't have a big balance at my bank, so that's what it means. All right. I think I spoke about Wall Street Silver, the Reddit group. They reached 100,000 today. I've reached 50,000 subscribers. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I think, and I'm talking about this because I've been playing golf since I was 15. I really love the game of golf, and I followed, professional golf for a long time. But what happened yesterday really is another reason why I think things are crazy. You had this golfer, John Rahm. He plays in the U.S., but he's originally Spanish, and he basically made six birdies on the back nine. He was playing really well. You might know what that means: six birdies on nine holes, and he was leading by six shots after three rounds. And what do? The PGA Tour officials? Well, they forced him to withdraw just because he tested positive for that thing. And he's only, I think, 28 or 29. And I thought that's ridiculous. So I've unsubscribed from the PGA Tour YouTube. I'm not going to watch their tournaments anymore. I'm not going to watch today. And I think, why is that significant? Well, apparently there's talk that he didn't have, the, I don't want to even use the word. So I think what they're pushing things into is that you're going to have to, everyone's going to have that, even if you want to play golf, maybe. And I think that's pretty bad. So that's why I think things are getting, barring a miracle, things are not looking great, but you can never lose hope. And I think you just have to keep your head down. You have to, yeah, like Bjorn Andreas Bohansen said, try to be self-sufficient, independent, and reliant. That's the only way you can keep some freedom. So that's why I enjoy. Yeah, that's it. Catfish Customs. I don't want to mention that term. Food prices in the UK, are they up? Yes, they are. Probably not as much as in the US. Over here says, I'm sure the Queen is glad to hear you're staying put. Yeah, I've noticed like restaurants are getting a lot more expensive. On Saturday, I went to an old, well, actually, I went to see Peter Morris. He's a coin and metal dealer, my local coin shop, if you want to call it. He's not necessarily a bullion dealer, even though he does get bullion, silver, and gold once in a while. He does more numismatics, and he's in Bromley. And I went to a little restaurant in the shopping center there, and I had what I usually have, and I haven't been there for a few years though. and it was, instead of being like nine pounds for breakfast, it was like almost 13. So things are getting expensive. People, uh, I think the inflation, well, as I've said, inflation has been baked in the cake. What we're getting now is the rising prices of consumer goods, of services. The genie's out of the bottle. I don't think they're going to be able to put it back in. And commodities haven't even started going up. I'll show you the CRB index. I've got a chart here. Uh, it doesn't go up in a straight line, but as you can see here, CRB, this is where it was here in 2008. And this is where we still are right now. So can you imagine they're concerned about inflation now with the CRB here? Can you imagine if it goes here or even higher than 500? Things are going to be, there's going to be a lot of angry people out there, especially in the poorer countries. They get hit harder, but also in the UK, in the US. Um, if paper market goes to schnitz, what happens to precious metals shares? You're talking about the gold and silver, COMEX and LBA main market. Well, if those markets break down and the physical market takes over, I expect gold and silver prices to go up, and I expect mining shares to do really well too. So there you go. Or maybe the paper market, you mean the stock market? Um, yeah, this time around, I think gold and the mining stocks are going to do well. Maybe in the short term, if there is a big crash in the general stock market, the algorithms and these day traders might sell the mining stocks, but people will soon realize that they're a bargain, because gold and silver are going to go up, and so are, in my opinion, commodities. We're going to get the worst of both worlds. We're going to get falling stock market and rising commodities, which is basically stagflation. Uh, Basel III being implemented. Well, Basel III is more than just what's happening, supposed to happen to gold on the 28th of June. There's loads of other rules that they've been implementing for years. So Basel III has been implemented all along. I think 2011 they started looking at Basel III. I would say, we've gone over this so much, Basel III and what's going to happen, or what could happen June 28th. I think the best thing to do now is just sit and wait and see what happens. Am I worried about Basel III? No, because even if nothing happens to gold and silver, I'm still going to keep stacking, because nothing's going to change fundamentally. The central banks are going to have to keep printing. Governments are going to have to keep borrowing as well. Bull Terrier, UK. Any thoughts on effects on BIS El Salvador? Oh yeah, I have taken some notes about that. So I do have here Bitcoin legal tender. Yeah, I think the president of El Salvador, which is a Central American country, very small country, he's thinking of making Bitcoin legal tender. Uh, I don't think that's very significant for Bitcoin or cryptos. If it was Germany doing that, then I would say yes, or the US, but not El Salvador. Um, the other thing I would say, if the president of El Salvador really wanted to help his country, he would actually abolish all legal tender laws and allow people to use whatever money and currency they want. If they want to use Bitcoin, they can. If they don't want to use the local well, they probably won't want to use their El Salvador currency, but if they want to use dollars, if they want to use gold and silver, yeah, that's what they should do. I mean, legal tender laws are bad because they hamper the free market in money and currency. There should be no legal tender laws. That's how I feel about that. Over here, people shouldn't waste their money on diet plans. We will all be on diets soon. Food shortages coming, inflated food prices. Yeah, I am hearing a lot about that. We had a nice dinner tonight or this evening. My wife actually cooked some duck breasts. It's really nice meat. Not cheap, but it was really nice with mashed potatoes and some salad. My wife and my daughter had chocolate cake with vanilla ice cream. I didn't have that because I shouldn't really eat too much sweets. But yeah, right now we're lucky here in the UK. Things are going up, prices of food, but not as much. Oh, I didn't write this down. I was cutting the grass yesterday, in the back garden or in the yard, as the Americans would call it, backyard. And my neighbor was on the other side, and we had a chat. And he's a project manager for a construction company, and he was telling me that when they need to buy materials now, a lot of the shops that they have to go to, there's not much on the shelves. There's a lot of shortages. He also said there's a shortage of labor. It's really hard to hire people. So it's not only happening in the US, it's happening here as well. Brady Girding says duck is grease. Oh, actually, my wife, she's got this book from Gordon Ramsay, and he teaches you how to cook the grease out of the duck. So yeah, there's a special way to get the render. Okay, you guys can still hear me. So yeah, to render the fat or the grease out of the duck. So yeah. Mark Sile, thank you, or Sale, thank you for your super chat. Can you tell me whether you can still hear me? Because I got like a message about the speakers. Okay. Lord Humongous says there isn't a shortage of criminal bankers. Yeah, I don't think it's only, I'm not absolving the bankers, but I think the whole of society now is pretty yeah, there's no morals in all kinds of businesses. I think it's not only banking, it's in uh, the health system, it's everywhere. And that happens, I think, because the people who run society nowadays they're not really the best people, and that's that's the example people get. So there you go. So another interesting thing about food prices, I was reading Rafi Faber's Endgame Investor Weekend Report, and he was talking about a report from the United Nations Food and Agricultural, what's it called? Food and Agricultural Organization. It's a UN institution. I know it's a globalist institution, and they're in Rome, but they came out with something really interesting. And Rafi Faber caught on to it. They're saying that food prices haven't risen as fast in the last month in May in a decade. So food prices are rising. But at the same time, they said that there's a record output of cereal in 2021. So food prices are rising at a record pace, and there's ample supply. So how come the price is going up? Well, um, Rafi thinks it's because there's a shortage of good money. What does he mean by that? Well, there's a shortage of sound money because they're printing so many dollars and euros and pounds out of thin air that people hold back, producers, farmers hold back, and I agree with him. So that's a really interesting point. The thing is, the UNFAO, it's called, they mention both those things, that on one hand food prices are going up, and on the other hand supply is going up, and it's the most supply of cereal in many years, or record supply of cereal in many years. But they don't really put two and two together and say, well, there's something wrong with the money. And that's a bad sign. That's a sign of impending hyperinflation, loss of confidence in the currency. That's usually how it starts, through the food prices. Yash Modi, I don't think the Fed will taper. They will talk a lot about tapering, but they might a little bit, and maybe in a year or two. But when they start tapering, you're going to see a lot of trouble in the markets, especially the stock market and the bond market. Fast Eddie, yeah, Jeff Christian said that the silver market is like, let's say you have a bucket and it has a little hole in it, and you got water in it, and some of the water is coming out. But if you look up, there's like a waterfall. So he's saying basically, but I think what he mean, what he means is a waterfall of paper silver. It's not real silver. So yeah, there is a story here today, and it's the same story that I covered, I think, maybe a week ago or so, or 10 days, about the shortage, and that even the US Mint is admitting now that there is a shortage. So there you go. US Mint postpones silver coin pre-orders amid global silver shortage. So, Jeff Christian can ramble on and on about how there isn't a shortage as much as he wants, but in the real world, there is a shortage. I really recommend you guys watch Andy Schechtman. He was on Wall Street Silver this week, and he's been in the business since, I think, 1989, and he said he's never been busier in the precious metals market. The demand is, you know, off the charts. Uncle Deadly 75. I don't think premiums will normalize until the paper price catches up. So yeah, I don't think it will. The more they try to keep gold and silver suppressed, the higher the premiums are going to go, or stay pretty much where they are. Uh, Over here, I don't know where the cereal has been shipped to, but yeah. Rochelle, what Fernandez, what does it mean when a gold mining stock says X dividend date? Does it mean that the company isn't doing dividends anymore? Uh, X dividend, it's not just mining companies. That means that if you buy, let's say the X dividend is June 7th, tomorrow. So if you bought the stock last Friday, you will get that dividend, the next dividends. But if you buy it after tomorrow, yeah, I think it's after tomorrow, you won't get that dividend. So that's all it means, ex dividend. So it's the date where when you if you buy the stock, you're not getting the next dividend anymore. You'll be getting the dividend for the next quarter, or whenever they pay the next dividend. Urban Sombrero, thank you for your super chat. Aren't the bullion banks just agents for central banks? Yeah, that's right. They are. And yes, Of course, they can be and they have been bailed out, but the thing is that it's very important that they maintain control of the paper price of gold and silver, because it's very dangerous to the whole system, even though many people seem to think that gold and silver are just pet rocks and they don't matter, but they are. Why do you think they're so involved in gold? Silver, not so much, but they are. Yeah, it's because if they let the price, if they lose control of this bullion market, it's not just the banks that can go; it's the whole system can implode. So yeah, but of course they can come out and try to save them. I think they did that in 1999 when Gordon Brown pre-announced the sale of half of the UK's gold reserves. At the time, people thought he was just, a bit being, stupid. But looking back from what people have talked about, it was because there were a few bullion banks that were being short squeezed, in particular Goldman Sachs. So that was kind of a bailout by the Bank of England. Gordon Brown pre-announced the sale, that smacked the price down, and that's how they helped them cover. But nowadays, I don't think it would look really bad, and it would actually show how gold is important. Back in 1999, gold was like still in a almost 20-year bear market. Not many people were watching gold, but now it's different. I would say there's a lot more interest. Gold ETFs or physical gold. Oh, gold ETF is not gold, so physical gold every time. GLD, unless you have 10,000 shares, you cannot get physical. I think most ETFs, with the exception of PSLV, just track the price. And ETFs are basically an instrument devised by the bankers to keep people away from physical gold and silver. That's the way I look at it. They hate people buying physical gold and silver, the bankers, and I've had experience with them about that. Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. Can you explain financial repression? Is it a distinct possibility in the future? Well, basically, financial repression, I think the first time they used that strategy was after World War II. And basically, it's keeping real interest rates negative. How do they do that? Well, in the post World War II period, the Fed had yield curve control, so they kept the 2-year yield below 2%. And then you run the CPI or inflation above that rate. So investors are actually getting their capital is being, diluted. But what happens there is that the government writes off its debts. So it's basically inflating the system and manipulating interest rates lower. So the people who lose are savers, and there's nowhere to go. Back in the 50s and 60s, you couldn't buy gold in the States. Nowadays, you can. You can protect yourself through physical gold and silver. And that's why they try to keep the manipulation of gold and silver is not just, it's not to keep the price down per se, but to keep the market volatile, to discourage people from buying real physical, and buying ETFs is part of that, because there's really not much behind ETFs. It's just paper promises. So that's financial repression, keeping real interest rates negative and screwing basically investors. That's the repression. And if you try to circumvent the repression, you can try to do that, but you're going to end up putting your capital towards a lot riskier investments that have higher yields, and that's very dangerous. In a normal financial, honest money situation, you should be able to park your money, lend your money to a pretty good credit and get a real rate of 2.5 or 3%. A real rate, I mean, nominal maybe of 5%. And yeah, so that's financial repression. Norman Burton, thank you for your super chat. Steve Habig, 50,000. Yeah, thank you very much. 50,000 subscribers. Benoit Guillou says the best commodity is inside information by far. Yeah, I guess if you're able to get the inside information and not get into trouble. I think the US Congress, senators and Congress people, they're not liable to insider trading rules. So yeah, they've got like a pretty good deal there. I don't understand why that isn't you know done away with, but they make the laws. So uh, I just don't get how people accept that. Boost Urpac, thank you for your super chat. Theory: Basel III is a central bank ploy to save themselves from insolvency by strengthening their gold positions, otherwise face bankruptcy. Uh, if they wanted to save themselves from insolvency, they would not tell the world about Basel III and gold. They would do it on the quiet. They would, cover their shorts, paper shorts. Some people think it was China and Russia in particular that have forced the BIS to change the rules on unallocated gold and silver and other commodities for Basel III. Don't forget, Basel III is more than just the what's happening on the 28th of June. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that boost or pack. You could be right, but um, I think they try to do it on the quiet. Susan P. Faust, when will paper silver and paper gold market fall? June 28th or January 1st? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, June 28th is a important date for the European banks. And by European, I don't mean British banks. I mean the banks on the continent. The LBMA banks in the UK and even the World Gold Council are trying to get the BIS to change the rules for them, which is supposed to come in effect on January 1st, 2021. Um, I don't know. I mean, it could be before January 2021. If they don't get joy from the BIS, the bullion banks in London could start getting out of the market before January. What else have I got? Oh, yeah. Let's see. I don't know if you guys seen news about the G7. They had a tax deal and they're hyping it up. They're saying it's great. The big corporations are going to pay at least, they're going to pay 15% tax. But one thing I would say, it's all PR because you look at the UK. I spoke about this in one of my videos last week. May 31st this year was Tax Freedom Day. So what's Tax Freedom Day? Well, it's the day where we stop working for the government. So what the Adam Smith Institute does, they calculate how much taxation there is from the UK government and how many days, what percentage of GDP that is and annual GDP. So it's gone from about, let's say, I think it was beginning of May or end of April, 25, 30 years ago. So it took about 4 months to pay all the taxes. Now it's taking it's more than, it's up to June, May 31st. So I don't think anything is being solved there. Yeah, they don't pay tax. And I'm sure This G7 tax deal is going to be very good for corporate accountants and also for lawyers. I'm sure they're going to find ways to get around this. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about, why things are getting so crazy here in the UK, all the lockdown rules are supposed to go out the window. We're supposed to go back to normal like Texas did. I don't know how long ago Texas did it, a couple of months or even more. And it's supposed to be June 21st, but now they're talking about delaying it again. So that's bad as well. I saw the former Prime Minister Tony Blair as well talking about discriminating against people who don't take the jab. I think that's bad as well. So yeah, things are not great. I don't know if any of you noticed, because I use an iPhone. It's over here. This is the phone that I use also to film a lot of my videos. It's a really good phone. But today I got a software update from iOS software update. And before updating, I read what they were updating, and they said that now you're going to be able to open your phone face recognition with a mask on. So the fact that Apple is developing, updating their software to make sure that you can have your mask when you you know turn your phone on, the system on, I think it's a bad sign, because uh, I try as much as possible not to wear this stuff on my face. When I go to shops that require to wear it, I walk in without it on. I put it in my pocket. If anyone says anything, like a security guy, I'll put it on. But if no one says anything, I won't. Brady Girding says, I never update my phone. The problem with that, Brady, is if you don't update it, a lot of times, it doesn't work as well. And I really need that phone to work properly for what I do. But I don't care that you can use the face recognition through a mask. My point was that the fact that they're doing that shows me that these people plan to keep people wearing these things. So what else have we got? Yeah, another reason why, time running out and time to get out of the system, the title of my live stream, is that I'm really seeing a push towards this climate agenda. It's not new, of course, but it's really in your face now. You have people like Larry Fink of BlackRock. He's even saying that climate change can affect inflation. I mean, talk about rubbish. We all know, if you've been listening to me, you know that inflation is a monetary phenomenon. It's got nothing to do with climate change or the environment, but they're pushing it. Even the FT now, I noticed, on the top of their website, they have sections like markets, economy, politics, UK, news. They've got a section now for climate. And that's all to do with this globalist agenda, because if you have a climate problem or a health problem, the excuse is that they're global problems. They transcend borders. So they can have the excuse to have globalist institutions and bureaucrats make up the rules, people that we haven't voted for. And I think that's really bad. They call it ESG, this new agenda, environmental, social, and corporate governance. And I think it's really bad. But unfortunately, they're really trying to push it. And as I said earlier, barring a miracle, things don't look good, but you never know. You never know. I don't know what could, one thing that could bring these people down is if we keep stacking silver and gold. Who knows? Maybe we're closer than we think to bringing them down. Maybe that's why the LBMA had to lie about how much silver they had in March. You know, they said they had 106 million ounces of silver that they didn't have. Why would they do that? Well, because they're running scared and they don't have much silver, contrary to what Mr. Jeff Christian is saying. But Jeff Christian, his major clients are the banks and people like the IMF and the BIS. So he's working for those people, not for us small investors. Little Boot says, throw my man Mario some upvotes. Yeah, that's always good. Thumbs up. What else have I got on my list? Yeah, I made a list here. I like writing sometimes, typing is good, but I like writing on paper and I use my fountain pen. I like fountain pens. So what do we got? Uh, Oh yeah, the price action of gold and silver last week, especially Thursday and Friday. I thought it was encouraging what gold and silver did on Friday after the smash, the tamping down, as Ross Benham of the CFTC would call on Thursday. I thought gold and silver picked up really well on Thursday and Friday. We'll have to see on Friday. I mean, not Thursday. We'll have to see what happens tonight and next week. And I think the other thing to watch this week, I think it's on. Is it 7? I think it's on Thursday. We get the CPI numbers. I think they're going to get worse. Rafi Fabres looked at the CPI, all the measures. He thinks, and I remember about 3-4 months ago, he was saying that in May we're going to see a very high CPI, and he was right. And he thinks it's going to get worse, the inflation situation. So yeah, that's going to be a key day next week when the CPI comes out, which is a measure of prices, but they call it inflation, of course. Gwen Clark says, thank you for all you do. You're a great humanitarian. I never thought of myself like that, but okay. Uh, this weekend, Janet Yellen said, higher interest rates are good for us. Please advise your thought. How will gold and silver prices react? Uh, I think I don't know. I didn't listen to what she said exactly, but I think it's rubbish to, if the Fed raises rates, it's not going to be good for the economy nor for her Treasury Department because they're borrowing a lot of funds. Her boss wants to borrow 6 trillion every year. I think maybe what she meant is if the economy goes back to normal, uh, it would be good to see interest rates at levels that they've been for the last 250 years, and taking out what they've been in the last 15 years, which is near zero. But there's no chance in hell that interest rates can go back to the, 250-year average of around 5%. If that were to happen, the whole economy would implode. So she's being, in my opinion, dishonest about that. It's all wishful thinking, but that's how they're trying to manipulate people's perceptions. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry too much about what she says, to be honest. I think the market is much more important than her, the free market. I know it's manipulated, but the free markets always win. There's only one way. Thank you for your super chat. And what do you think about El Salvador using Bitcoin? as a currency, and if it brings peace to the region, would you change your mind on Bitcoin? Well, the from what I read, the president of El Salvador is thinking about, he wants Bitcoin legal tender laws for El Salvador. Uh, I don't think it's going to help El Salvador. I said earlier in this live stream, the best thing for El Salvador, even I don't know much about El Salvador, but this is the best thing for any country, would be to have no legal tender laws, because having legal tender laws means that the government is in control of the money. What you want is no legal tender laws, so that people in the free market in El Salvador or anywhere else can decide what money they want to use. Uh, be it gold, silver, Bitcoin, or even dollars. It's for them to decide. Leave it to the free market competition. No, and I don't think it's going to work in El Salvador. Uh, and the other thing as well, it's not a done deal. Um, yeah, but it doesn't mean to say that Bitcoin is bad if it doesn't work. He could do the same thing for gold, but whenever governments are involved, by creating legal tender laws, I'm always skeptical. Mario, have you heard of Pax Gold, crypto that tracks the price of gold? No, I haven't. Haven't heard of that. Just the fact that it only tracks the price, I don't like that. You should be able to get delivery. So, if it only tracks gold, it's just like GLD ETF. But I don't know much more. But I don't know anything about Pax apart from what you're telling me. Mario, what's best? Governments having control of legal tender or whales having control of cryptocurrency valuations? Um, I don't think governments should be involved in money. Um, and people, the free market should decide if they want to have cryptocurrencies. Uh, I would personally, and I have personally, I choose gold and silver as money. I don't have to. That's my choice. I do have some cryptocurrencies, and I don't have a lot of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies because of what you just said there. Because uh, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, they're not stable. They're not a stable store of value. Yes, Bitcoin might go to 100,000 or 250,000 by the end of the year, but in the meantime, it could go down to 20, back up to 60, down to 20 again, and then up to 100, and then down to 30. I mean, that's not stable. But that doesn't mean that government should be involved in anything. Leave it to the free market. Governments always ruin everything. Michael Anon, if you could interview Lynn Alden, try to keep her focus on gold and silver only. Would be interested in hearing her thoughts only on precious metals. Yeah, I don't know much about Lynn Alden. I think my wife sometimes she has watched her before, but I don't know much about Lynn Alden. What's your take on Monero? The only thing I know about Monero is that it's supposed to be quite private. I have had Monero in the past, but don't have any views. The only really cryptos I'm involved are like Steemit, Hive, Library, DTube, because I actually earned them. They actually have a functionality, those, social media platforms. And I think that's good. But I'm not deluded to think that they're going to keep doing well, because if there is a cryptocurrency bear market, a Bitcoin bear market, maybe let's say next year, all the other coins are going to suffer. Lynn Alden is competent. Lynn is the macro boss. I've heard her talk about things before, like inflation, you know, and she's not the only one. She doesn't seem to know what inflation is, the real definition of inflation, but that doesn't mean she's not good. But I don't know much about her. And yeah, maybe I will interview her. My channel, I do interviews in my channel, but it's uh, yeah, the core of my channel is just me talking about things. I am doing now like a Mike and Mario show every Friday with him, and I post those videos on the Saturday. And yeah, about 5 minutes to go. Dmitry Shmerkovich, thank you for your super chat. Do you think Putin is with New World Order or against it? Really thinking about going back to Russia. Uh, yeah, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Very tricky because from what I know is that the Rockefellers were actually in charge of the Soviet Union. Um, outrageous as it may sound, the Wall Street and the City of London financed the Bolshevik Revolution. Some people say that Putin is like KGB, ex KGB. So I don't know. I think you know the what we get in the public, the public media and all the talk is that we don't like Putin. He's challenging Europe and the U.S. I personally think it's all theater. So I don't know, but I think Russia, from what I've heard, you only have a flat tax of 13%, which is a good thing. But I've never been to Russia. I remember watching the World Cup. We saw a lot of people that traveled to Russia. It looked like a nice place, but who knows? But yeah, one thing about Putin is I think he might uh, go along. He has to, deal with the New World Order or the Davos Man, if you want to call it. But at the same time, he seems to me to be determined to protect the interests of the Russian people, which is something that they don't do that much in the West anymore. I think it was Janet Yellen. She made a statement. I took down some notes. She said, uh, I think it was at the G7 meeting. She said, "End of America first is a sign of success of the G7 meeting." So she thinks it's a good thing that America doesn't come first. And I think that's the difference between the West and Russia. But it doesn't mean to say that Putin will not play ball and cooperate with these people. Yeah, the sovereign wealth fund in Russia is going to start buying physical gold and they're going to get rid of dollar investments. All right, we got a couple of minutes. I'll take some more questions. Vlad the Lad will show buffoon Biden who's got a brain. I saw a meme. It had a picture of the White House and it said the most expensive care home in the world. That was quite funny. The bankers have been in charge, Fast Eddie, I think for a long time, since 1933, when they stole the people's gold. It was called gold confiscation, but basically it was theft, in my opinion. Yeah, Jay Northup, we do have Cyber Polygon July 9th. I think they are preparing us for some kind of event, cyber event. And according to Klaus Schwab, it's going to make what's happened in the last year look like a picnic. One of my viewers actually said that his wife said that Schwab means cockroach. I'm not sure if that is right. Schwab translates to cockroach. Okay. One last question from Peter Brunsgaard. Will they ever get desperate enough to confiscate our physical gold and silver and outlaw position like FDR did? Silver, I don't think so because it's too bulky and too difficult. Physical gold, I don't think so, Peter, because very few people have physical gold. Back in the 30s in the US, physical gold was like money. A lot of people used it. So, but you never know. But that is still not a reason not to try to protect yourself with some of that. I would say they could come after everything you have. So, you know, uh, unfortunately. All right. Thank you, everyone. Um, for showing up. Any of you, thank you, Rich Mountains. That's for Billy. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for showing up. Thanks for all of those who are new to the channel. Maybe if you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. I guess the next target now would be 100,000. We're up to above 50,000. So thank you very much for your support, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.